All right, I'm here with Julia Clifford. Julia, you were part of the Minnesota contingent down to the first ever WPSL International Combine in Oklahoma, and you're back in Minnesota, which means you survived. What was the combine like?
It was very hot to start with. I mean, the first day we all got there, we were super stoked to check in and everything like that, and then we hit the fields and it was like 110 degrees. So it was definitely a climate change to start off with, but it was really fun. We were surrounded by great athletes and amazing coaches, so it was a good experience.
And I sometimes wonder if it's easier or harder as a keeper to go into a situation like that because part of a combine situation, or frankly, even playing in the WPSL, is you jump in with a bunch of players you're not used to playing with, and you have to build chemistry. And I sometimes wonder, as a keeper, is it less of a burden because you're always a lot of solo, a lot of independent work, or a lot of standing your own ground, or do you think it's harder? Like, how do you think about that?
It's got its perks and downfalls for sure. I mean, especially when you hop into like scrimmages right away and you don't know your back line or how they like attack and everything.
Right.
That's the hardest part. But I mean, it really shows your time to shine and like show them what you got and stuff like that. So, yeah, it was a challenge, but it was still a good challenge overall.
Yeah, and a few of the other girls mentioned there was like kind of 115-ish, like maybe players down there.
Yep.
Did the numbers work out correctly for keepers? Like were there eight of you or six of
There
you or
was
four of you?
Yeah, there was 10 keepers
Okay.
total. But we tried to rotate as much as we could. I mean, half of them, over half of them were still in college, so we tried to keep like an even rotation just so everybody can get, looked at and everything and show up their time to shine. So
I
it
mean,
was,
and this was the first time the league has done it, but it seems
mhm.
like it's also probably the first time a lot of players had experienced this. I mean, had you ever experienced something like this before? I guess maybe it's similar to some other kind of showcase type events, but what was it like for you going through this, like with Italian coaches there watching you? I mean, what was it like for you to go
I
through this specific type of event?
Yeah, it reminded me of like college showcases, like back in the day when you're trying to get recruited and stuff, and you don't know who's watching you, but you just know that there's tons of coaches watching you.
Right.
But I mean, it was more fun. It had more of like a camp feel like because we all spent time together, we all worked hard together, and I mean, we just wanted to help each other get better. The coaches were great. I mean, their English was a little challenging at sometimes, but they worked hard to like let us know and understand how they want us to play and everything. So it was a good experience.
Well, and we've mentioned a couple times it was their first time doing it, and so that also meant I think they weren't quite sure what the response from the players would be because, as you kind of hinted, the league is made up of some really young college students who are just coming into college. It's made up of a lot of current college students, and then it's made up of some college graduates. And on the Fire, there was a couple of you who had already finished up college, but you were still playing. And so, how did you end up deciding even to go?
I mean, I'm committed to like keep playing soccer. It's my life, and I just never want to hang up the cleats or the gloves. Either if it's playing soccer or coaching or just working out at a camp or anything like that. It's a part of my life, and I just don't want to give up yet.
Right. Well, and
But
what did they say? What were some of those coaches saying in terms of what they're looking for or what their teams might need? There were professional coaches from abroad coming in to look at you guys play. What were they saying about kind of what they needed or what were they looking for?
yeah, we had seminars on Saturday, and so we got to learn about injury prevention, health and nutrition, and also like technology for coaching and stuff like that. And then at the end, they also hosted a meeting to talk about like international playing and stuff like that, to talk about the process. So we had like an hour-long talk of just like asking questions. I mean, we all had the same exact questions too. So we were all just like, what do we do next? How do we contact people? Blah, blah, blah. And they all were just like, don't worry, like it's all going to be fine. they were really chill about it all. They're kind of just like our advisors in a way, but I mean, like, you can't really call them like our agents or anything like that because I mean they're not an agent. They're just guiding us into like our next steps and everything. So, but yeah, it was very helpful learning all the stuff that's going to be happening and eye-opening. So
yeah. Well, and would you? So if you found out randomly some team needed, a backup keeper, someone to compete for minutes, or even like a starting keeper, and it was in some even if it was in some very non-glamorous league, are you just like ready to go and take advantage of the opportunity?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I graduated 2016, and then I stayed for another semester just to finish out my lease and stuff. I actually helped coach a little bit at St. Cloud State, and then I made the move back home, and then I played last summer for the Minnesota Twin Stars, and I had a full-time job at the same time, so I was kind of juggling that a little bit. But then this summer, I talked to my parents, and I was just like, I kind of want to see where this goes. Like, I know that Aaron and Mickey are going to do great and all this sort of stuff. They're going to get us on our feet and, go out with a bang and stuff. So I quit my job, and I was 100% focused on soccer and everything. And so I talked to Mickey and Aaron, and I was just like, I'm very interested in playing overseas. And so they talked to me and everything like that, and got me all set up for this combine. So I was super stoked.
Yeah, nice. Well, and have you ever, have you talked to players who have played over there, or what are some of the things that you've heard about, the best way to get in touch or to make that happen? I mean, I think it's every player I've talked to makes it seem fairly random. So I think there's always a bit of random chance, a little bit of a wild card factor. But have you talked to players who have played over there and heard about their experiences?
I was just trained by Tara Hobbs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she played for Sweden, I believe.
Yeah. How did she describe the second division of Sweden professional soccer to you?
She said it was pretty interesting. I mean, we didn't really get to talk much about it, but from what I hear, I thought it sounded great. I was just like, I'm ready, like, sign me up. But to be able to get out and go have that experience, I've heard different varieties of how they got in contact and everything like that, but what it mainly came down to is building your connections and being comfortable with getting out there and talking to people and stuff. So as long as you build up your soccer resume and you have some sort of video background and stuff like that and all that sort of stuff, then it should be fine. So
and you mentioned your timeline a bit, that you played at St. Cloud State, and then you played with the Twin Stars and now with the Fire. So you've had a little taste of kind of different clubs and some different levels of play. What was you as a keeper, if the team is sort of unorganized and people aren't used to playing with each other, that might mean a lot more shots on you and a lot more opportunity for you. What was the level of play like for you as a keeper with these teams kind of coming at you?
I think last year as a keeper was definitely tougher than this year. That's mainly because my team this year was just solid, overall on and off the field. Defense did great. My midfielders always worked up the field, and my forwards always finished. So it was really easy being a keeper this year. But I mean, at the same time, the times that I got to see the ball were either super challenging or they were in the back net sometimes. So, but I mean, it was a good year. It was probably the best level of experience we've played so far, and I feel like it's just going to get harder from now on because of all the new teams that just came in. So
well, what was the combine like? I mean, because there's players from all over. There is there's even less cohesion for the teams because they're coming in with no time to practice. What was the combine like?
So our first day, when we jumped into that 109-degree weather, we all were struggling for the first 5 minutes. Not even just my team, but the other teams too. You could just tell that they just didn't have any chemistry or anything like that. But once you get past like that first 2 minutes or whatever, like all of a sudden you all just click. Like everybody knows the game of soccer and all that sort of stuff, and knows like how to play with each other. And it was really cool because we had no idea who each other were. Like we just saw numbers, and we were just like, hey, like go get the ball. Hey, I'm gonna pass to you, kind of thing. Like I don't know, it was really cool because like the level of experience that everybody brought to the combine was so wide, and it was just great.
Yeah. So you wrapped up the summer season. You had kind of the crazy combine down there. What are your plans for like the next few months, or what are you gonna do as you wait for that shot over in Sweden or wherever you can get a shot?
Yeah, I'm definitely trying to reach out as much as I can. I'm gonna keep training, goalkeeper training and acceleration training and all that sort of stuff. I just want to like stay on my toes and be ready just in case the phone ever calls. You know.
Right. Yeah. You never know when a keeper will twist their ankle, so you never know when they'll need an emergency backup.
Yep. Exactly.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Julia. This was great, and good luck on your training. And we'll make sure we stay in touch in case we can see you playing overseas.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.